Over the past decades, the Palestinian cause has witnessed a profound transformation in the level of solidarity and support from Western populations, evolving from a marginal movement confined to traditional leftist circles into a widespread phenomenon encompassing millions of people from diverse social and political backgrounds. This development was not sudden but the result of historical accumulations, pivotal events, and persistent activism by individuals and civil associations dedicated to bringing the Palestinian voice to the Western world. In the early stages of the conflict, particularly before the 1980s, solidarity with Palestine was largely confined to very small circles of political activists, especially within Marxist and traditional leftist movements that saw the Palestinian cause as an extension of global struggles against colonialism and imperialism. At that time, organizations like the British Palestinian Solidarity Committee, founded in the 1960s, and small groups in France and Italy operated with very limited resources under the almost complete dominance of the Israeli narrative in Western media. It was extremely difficult for these activists to break through a media wall portraying Israel as a democratic state surrounded by enemies seeking its destruction, while marginalizing or negatively portraying the Palestinian narrative. The first Palestinian Intifada in 1987 marked a turning point in Western public awareness, as television screens broadcast images of Palestinian youths and children confronting tanks and soldiers with stones, generating widespread human empathy and altering stereotypical perceptions of the conflict. During this period, major international human rights organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch began systematically documenting Israeli violations, lending greater credibility to the Palestinian narrative. Specialized organizations advocating for Palestinian rights also emerged, such as the British Medical Aid for Palestinians, (MAP), founded in 1984 by Dr. Swi Shahader and his wife, focusing on providing medical and humanitarian support to Palestinians in the occupied territories. With the onset of the third millennium, especially following the Second Intifada in 2000, Western solidarity experienced a significant qualitative leap. Painful images of confrontations, the siege of Palestinian cities, and the live broadcasted killing of Mohammed al-Jura created shockwaves in Western conscience. In this context, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions (BDS) movement was established on July 9, 2005, following a call signed by more than 170 Palestinian civil society organizations. Led by Omar Barghouti and others, the movement drew inspiration from the anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa, setting three main goals: ending the occupation and colonization of Arab lands occupied in 1967, achieving full equality for Palestinian citizens of Israel, and respecting the right of Palestinian refugees to return. BDS has achieved tangible successes over the years, convincing numerous companies and institutions to withdraw investments from Israel or from firms involved in the occupation. Notable achievements include the British security giant G4S ending its contracts with Israel in 2016 after years of pressure, and the French company Veolia withdrawing from projects in Israeli settlements after losing billions due to boycott campaigns. The British trade union Unison, representing over 1 million members, supported boycott campaigns, followed by other unions in Ireland, Norway, and Belgium. Academically, recent years have seen notable growth in the academic and cultural boycott of Israel. In 2013, the American Studies Association, ASA, made a historic decision to boycott Israeli academic institutions, followed by associations such as the Native American and Indigenous Studies Association and the African Studies Association. In the UK, Professor Jonathan Rosenhan of Sussex University played a leading role in academic boycott campaigns, while American scholar Judith Butler provided intellectual defense against accusations of anti-Semitism targeting the boycott movement. Freedom flotillas breaking the Gaza blockade represent some of the boldest initiatives in international solidarity with Palestine. The first Freedom Flotilla in May 2010 was exceptional. 6 ships sailed from Turkey toward Gaza carrying over 10,000 tons of humanitarian aid, with around 700 activists from 37 countries on board. The main Turkish ship, the Marmara, carried most passengers, including parliamentarians, human rights activists, journalists, and doctors. Hours before reaching Gaza in international waters, Israeli commandos raided the ships in a violent military operation that killed 10 Turkish activists and injured dozens, creating a major diplomatic crisis between Turkey and Israel and shocking the world. Prominent leaders of this flotilla included the renowned Irish activist and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Mairead Maguire, Swedish writer Henning Mankell, former German MP Norman Peetz, and Malaysian activist Matthias Chang. Although the flotilla failed to reach Gaza, the event successfully drew global attention to the Israeli siege and the brutality toward peaceful activists. Subsequent attempts included the Second Freedom Flotilla in 2011, stopped in Greek ports due to Israeli pressure, and the Norwegian ship Marianne in 2012, also intercepted by the Israeli Navy. In parallel with maritime flotillas, massive land convoys transported aid to Gaza. The Reviver Palestine campaign, led by British MP George Galloway, was one of the largest and most successful. The first convoy departed from London in February 2009, consisting of hundreds of trucks and vehicles carrying medical and food aid, passing through several European countries, Turkey, Syria, and Egypt to reach Gaza in March. Over 500 activists participated, receiving extensive media coverage. Galloway organized 2 more convoys in July 2009 and December 2010, with the third convoy transporting over 200 trucks through the Egyptian border. Other significant European initiatives included the German A Miles of Smiles, a convoy, founded by Dr. Mohammed Arbu Namarmar with German activists, organizing several convoys to Gaza starting in 2009, and Denmark's A Lifeline organization, alongside initiatives from Spain, Italy, and France. These convoys were not only material aid but also symbolically significant, showing Palestinians in Gaza that they were not alone and that millions worldwide supported them. In terms of demonstrations and popular protests, the last decades saw a marked increase in the scale and scope of pro-Palestinian demonstrations in Western cities. During the Israeli assault on Gaza in December 2008 a January 2009, massive protests erupted in dozens of cities, with over 100,000 people marching in London alone in one of the largest pro-Palestinian demonstrations in UK history. In Paris, despite attempts by French authorities to block demonstrations, tens of thousands protested in solidarity with Gaza, clashing with police. Other cities like Madrid, Berlin, Rome, Stockholm, and Amsterdam witnessed similar protests. These scenes recurred during the 2014 Gaza War, with London hosting a massive protest of over 150,000 demonstrators waving Palestinian flags and chanting against the siege and killings. In the United States, despite being Israel's largest ally, large protests occurred in Washington, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and other cities, reflecting a shift in American public opinion, especially among younger generations. In Canada, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver hosted regular demonstrations. The largest wave of grassroots solidarity came with the war on Gaza beginning in October 2023 and lasting for several months. Unlike previous events, protests became weekly regular movements lasting months in dozens of cities worldwide. In London alone, weekly protests involved over 300,000 participants at times, making it one of the largest demonstrations in modern UK history. In Washington, tens of thousands surrounded the Capitol, demanding a ceasefire and an end to arms shipments to Israel. In Paris, protests continued almost daily despite heavy security repression. This wave was notable for the wide participation of university students, with dozens of sit-ins and campus occupations in American and European universities. The movement began at Columbia University in New York in April 2024, with students pitching tents and raising slogans demanding academic boycotts of Israel. It quickly spread to prestigious U.S. universities including Harvard, Yale, MIT, UC Berkeley, and the University of Michigan, among others. In Europe, universities like the Sorbonne in Paris, University of Amsterdam, Oxford, and Cambridge experienced similar student protests. University administrations often responded violently, calling police to disperse sit-ins, arresting hundreds of students, and even expelling some. Yet the repression only strengthened student determination, with broad support from faculty and staff. Key student groups included a Students for Justice in Palestine, with branches in hundreds of US universities, and a Jewish Voice for Peace, representing thousands of American Jews opposing Israeli policies. Public figures and intellectuals also significantly influenced Western public opinion. Prominent among them was Israeli historian Elon Paper Copyright Symbol, who documented the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in his renowned book The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine, and was forced to leave Israel due to his positions. American linguist and thinker Noam Chomsky was one of the earliest Western intellectuals to strongly criticize Israeli policies and unconditional US support since the 1960s. British journalist Robert Fisk, a Middle East correspondent for decades, authored hundreds of articles documenting Palestinian suffering and exposing the official Israeli narrative. In arts and culture, British musician Roger Waters of Pink Floyd played a prominent role in the boycott campaign, refusing to perform in Israel and urging fellow artists to do the same. Pulitzer Prize-winning American writer Alice Walker participated in the 2011 Freedom Flotilla and wrote numerous articles on the Palestinian cause. British director Ken Loach, Palme d'Or winner at Cannes, announced his boycott of Israel and support for the BDS movement. Irish actor Liam Neeson and British actress Tilda Swinton were among dozens of artists publicly supporting Palestinian rights. NGOs such as British Christian Aid, the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, and the World Council of Churches supported Palestinians and defended their rights. International NGO Oxfam published numerous reports on humanitarian conditions in the occupied territories. MA with Tilda Copyright Symbol Descent Sans Frontières provided substantial medical aid, especially in Gaza during repeated wars. The Palestinian NGO OHAC, in cooperation with Western human rights organizations, documented thousands of violations and filed cases in international courts. Legally, organizations like the Palestinian Al-Quds University Legal Aid Center and Adarla collaborated with Western lawyers to pursue Israeli war criminals. British Palestinian lawyer Ronnie Ahmadi filed cases against UK arms companies, while British lawyer Michael Sfard filed cases in Israeli courts against settlement expansions and home demolitions. The International Criminal Court opened investigations into potential war crimes in Palestinian territories due to these efforts. Progressive Jewish organizations also played a key role, such as a Jewish Voice for Peace in the US, a Jews for Justice for Palestinians in the UK, and the French Jewish Union for Peace. Led by Jews committed to justice and human rights, these groups countered accusations that criticizing Israel equates to anti-Semitism, demonstrating a strong Jewish voice against occupation and injustice. Alternative media platforms like the British Middle East Eye, Electronic Intifada, and US-based Mondo's played vital roles in conveying the Palestinian narrative and challenging mainstream media bias. Journalists such as British Palestinian Nazi al-Bakri and American Ali Abdul Nabi provided courageous and objective coverage. On social media, activists like Mohammed Kurd and his sister Munir, threatened by settlers in Sheikh Jarrah, conveyed the Palestinian voice directly to the world, bypassing traditional media. Despite these achievements, the Western Solidarity movement faced substantial challenges. Several Western countries enacted laws criminalizing or hindering boycott campaigns. In France, courts deemed calls to boycott Israel discriminatory, fining activists. In the US, over 30 states passed laws penalizing individuals or companies participating in boycotts. Germany took a strict stance against BDS, labeling it anti-Semitic and cancelling events by pro-Palestinian activists. Pro-Israel lobby groups systematically used anti-Semitism allegations to silence criticism and tarnish activist reputations. Prominent activists, like George Galloway, faced widespread defamation and extremism accusations. At universities, pro-Palestinian students and faculty faced administrative pressure, threats of expulsion, and in some cases, lost jobs for their advocacy, such as Professor Stephen Salater, whose University of Illinois appointment was rescinded in 2014 due to tweets criticizing Israeli aggression in Gaza. Despite these obstacles, Western solidarity with Palestine continued to grow, especially among younger generations. Polls in the US and UK show that youth are more sympathetic to Palestinians than older generations, with many viewing Israel as an apartheid state. This generational shift holds strategic significance, as these young people will shape future public opinion and political landscapes. Social media played a decisive role, breaking traditional media monopolies and enabling Palestinians to communicate directly with the world. During the 2023 to 2024 Gaza war, millions of posts and videos documented bombings, destruction, and massacres, making it impossible for mainstream Western media to ignore or justify. Activists like Bissina Wider, Motaz Ezzedine, and Yara Horari courageously conveyed the truth, despite Israeli-Euro's systematic targeting of journalists. In the UK, figures such as Jeremy Corbyn, former Labour Party leader, played key roles in supporting Palestine politically. Corbyn, a longtime friend of Palestine, faced harsh defamation campaigns but remained steadfast. Other MPs like Diane Abbott, John McDonnell, and Andy MacDonald consistently defended Palestinian rights in Parliament. In Ireland, MPs Richard Boyd Barrett and Claire Daly were among the strongest voices advocating for Palestine. Labour unions also evolved, taking notable pro-Palestinian positions. In the UK, the Trades Union Congress, TUC, and major unions like Unison and RMT supported Palestinian rights. In Canada, the Canadian Labour Congress backed boycott campaigns. In Ireland, the Irish Congress of Trade Unions was among the first to support academic and cultural boycotts of Israel. Religious institutions also took courageous stances. The Anglican Church in England, the Episcopal Church in the US, and the United Methodist Church divested from companies benefiting from occupation. The World Council of Churches issued numerous statements criticizing the occupation. Prominent Christian figures like South African Nobel laureate Bishop Desmond Tutu visited the occupied Palestinian territories, likened the situation to apartheid in his own country, and became staunch defenders of Palestinian rights until his death. Western humanitarian organizations provided decades-long material and humanitarian support. Italian organization Intersos, French Action Against Hunger, British Islamic Relief, the American Banyang, and dozens of others worked in Palestinian territories in health, education, water, and agriculture. UNRWA, founded in 1968, implemented hundreds of development projects. The Near East Relief Services, UNRWA, provided tens of millions of dollars in aid. In medicine, exceptional efforts came from Western doctors and nurses volunteering in Palestine. Renowned Norwegian surgeon Mads Gilbert worked in Gaza hospitals for years, witnessing Israeli massacres and writing books on his experience. British Palestinian doctor Ghassan Arbu Sitter worked in Gaza during repeated wars, offering compelling testimony. American Norman Finkelstein, a Holocaust survivor's son, became a fierce critic of Israeli policies, authoring seminal works such as The Holocaust Industry and Beyond Chutzpah, exposing how Jewish suffering was exploited to justify Palestinian oppression. In philosophy and intellectual circles, figures like Slavoj J. 1/2 IA 3/4 Ek, Judith Butler, A. per thousand T.N. Barleybar, and Alain Badiou clearly supported Palestinian rights and criticized Zionism. Judith Butler authored influential articles and books, including Frames of War, When is Life Grievable?, offering radical critique of Zionism from a progressive Jewish perspective. Alain Badiou wrote The Uses of the Word Jew, critiquing the use of Jewish identity to justify injustice. In cinema and art, important documentaries raised awareness of the Palestinian cause. Imad Bernat and Israeli director Guy Davidia S5 Broken Cameras documented popular resistance in Bila in, earning an Oscar nomination. Mohamed Bakri S. Jenin chronicled the Jenin refugee camp massacre in 2002.
This is groundbreaking.
Yotam Feldman S. The lab exposed how Israel used Palestinians as experimental subjects for weapons and security technologies. British director Ken Loach S. Root Irish addressed Middle East war repercussions. Visual artists contributed as well. British artist Banksy painted a mural on the apartheid wall in Bethlehem and opened the walled-off hotel as protest art. Chinese artist Ai Weiwei visited Palestinian refugee camps and produced solidarity artworks. Musicians beyond Roger Waters, including Laurie Anderson, Elvis Costello, Brian Eno, and Massive Attack, participated in cultural boycotts. Writers and novelists played important roles too. Indian author Arundhati Roy wrote powerful articles and participated in solidarity events. Irish writer John Berger called for cultural boycotts in 2006. British author Alice Walker actively engaged in the 2011 Freedom Flotilla. British Palestinian poet Tom Porling and playwright Carol Churchill addressed the Palestinian cause in their works. In academic research, Western scholars documented the Nakba, ethnic cleansing, and exposed the official Zionist narrative.
This is the layout for the
British
new
historian
center.
Eugene Rogan authored important works on Arab history and Palestine. American scholar Rashid Khalidi wrote pivotal books such as The 100 Years War on Palestine and The Iron Cage, the story of the Palestinian struggle for statehood. Australian researcher Virginia Tilley wrote The One-State Solution, advocating a democratic state over all historical Palestine. Research centers and academic institutions also contributed. The Palestinian Studies Institutes in Washington, Beirut, and Ramallah produced thousands of studies. The Brookings Center in Qatar hosted dialogues on the issue. The Middle East Institute in Washington provided a platform for Palestinian and Arab voices. Western universities established programs like the Columbia University Palestinian Studies Center and Harvard Middle East Studies Center. Parliamentary groups and committees supporting Palestine also formed. In the UK, the Friends of Palestine group includes dozens of MPs from different parties. In the European Parliament, a solidarity group with Palestine includes MPs from various countries. National parliaments in Europe made symbolic recognitions of the Palestinian state, with the Swedish parliament voting in 2014, followed by Spain, Ireland, France, and Belgium. Western lawyers played a key role in the legal struggle for Palestinian justice. British human rights lawyer Michael Mansfield participated in the Russell Tribunal on Palestine investigating Israeli war crimes. South African lawyer John Dugard, UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Palestine, issued reports likening the situation to apartheid. South African Judge Richard Goldstone chaired the UN investigation on the 2009 Gaza assault, issuing a report condemning both sides but more severe toward Israel. Popular campaigns adopted creative and diverse forms. The UK's Stop Arming Israeli campaign protested arms sales, and Europeans for Palestine organised events across Europe. The US feminist anti-war group Code Pink staged numerous protests against US support for Israel. The Jewish youth movement If Not Now challenged Israeli policies, advocating an end to occupation. In digital technology and media, activists and developers created platforms supporting Palestine. Apps like AbortCat, for boycotting pro-Israel products, gained wide adoption. Palestinian activists Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok accounts amassed millions of followers. Hashtags such as #FreePalestine, #GazaUnderAttack, and #SaveSheikh trended globally. Western universities also established documentation centers and virtual museums on the Nakba and Palestinian issue. The Palestinian Oral History Project at the American University of Beirut collected thousands of refugee testimonies. University libraries in the West acquired rare Palestinian documents and manuscripts for preservation. In a world where great stories come to life, every click, every like, Every share makes a difference. Milky Way. If this video inspired you, don't just watch, be part of it. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss what's next. Your support fuels our journey, and together we'll keep creating moments that move hearts and minds. So, take a second now. Like, share, and join our growing family of dreamers and creators. This is more than just a channel. It's a story, and you are part of it.